Boys, it is a good day to be a Full Metal Alchemist fan. It's a good day to be an Edward Elric fan. If you already pulled multiple copies, like me, as you can see here, then it is a very good day. If you've been waiting to see how it pans out, if he's worth it, if you want to save for Roy or for DN coming out after, it's also a good day because now we have more information. And I think in the first time in Epic 7 history, maybe one of the fastest, if not the fastest, buff confirmation we've ever had for a newly released hero. Let's break it all down, guys. I can't wait to talk about it with y'all. This is fresh news that just hit us. Let's get into it. Alrighty, YouTube, let's go ahead and pull up the stove notes where Smilegate has confirmed. Let's just read together these dev notes that talk about the Edward Elric Brotherhood buff. Let's just read through all of it. I kind of just glanced through the actual changes, but first let's go and see what they said. So hello, this is Epic 7. We would like to inform you that the 5-star Full Metal Alchemist Brother collaboration hero, Edward Elric, will undergo a balance adjustment. Boys, all you that commented on the last video, talking about, will he get buffed car this fast? I think he needs buffs. He's kind of weak. Well, it seems like they definitely listened in my channel, wherever you guys were talking about it, in Stove, Reddit, and other channels, whatever it might be. Like I said in the intro, I think this is the fastest we've ever had a buff. I know we've had a few things like units get changed before like their release, I think like Cerise, Silencia, but nothing like a straight up pretty significant buff a week, less than a week after their release, at least the confirmation part. It'll be exactly a week when we finally get it. But yeah, I think this is still very crazy and honestly good for Smilegate, because regardless of whether or not, guys, he's too OP, whether this does enough, some of y'all maybe don't think this is enough, we'll get to it in just a second. I think it is nice that Smilegate just is willing to try things out and, you know, give some buffs when people, it feels like the general community mostly agree that he could use a little bit of love, right? So kudos to Smilegate on that regard. We'll see if we see this more in the future with maybe Roy. We'll see how Roy performs this week. Maybe he'll need the same kind of treatment. But overall, let's read the rest of this here. It says, initially, Edward Elric was designed to effectively neutralize enemies who apply debuffs frequently, yes. However, upon reviewing many comments and suggestions from our heirs, good job, boys, related to the hero's usability after its release and the results of the internal data of the live client. So they also use some, I'm assuming just how many people were actually playing him, how many people actually summoned for him, and I guess the win rate percentages probably wasn't looking too good on their end as well, right? So they first heard our complaints, then they looked at their own internal data, and they agreed with us, boys. Very good, very good. We confirmed that the hero utilization did not meet the level that we expected in its design stage. Okay, they admitted their fault, and it sounds like the data backs up our complaints. So that's where we meet, and that's good. According to you, we would like to inform you that we will have a balance adjustment for the 5-star collaboration hero Edward Elric as below. Unless there is a rerun, collaboration limited heroes cannot be acquired after the current drop rate up period ends. So we decided to apply the balance adjustment within the drop rate up period. Good on them. We apologize for any inconvenience and ask you for your understanding. Now, boys, we've had for every single collaboration besides Kazuna, which was I think just a special one-off, and she's not really like meta or anything. I have never seen her since her release. So I wouldn't count her. We've always had a rerun for collabs, but of course, when you have a collaboration, right, just by the nature of the term, it depends on both parties if it's worth, you know, for each side to continue the collaboration. So they're correct. Even though we've had Guilty Gear multiple times, we've had Slime. Actually, Slime is gonna come out soon, but ReZero has been confirmed already. We've got that earlier this year. We have, you know, we've gotten reruns for most of them, so I would expect FMA to come back. But yeah, it's good for them to note that, you know, there is always a possibility that they do not have a rerun, so they're running it now. Okay, guys, enough talking. Let's break down what actually is getting changed. Can you all see everything? Yep. All right, so Edward Elric, Covenant 5-star, equivalent exchange before. We all know what this does already, right, guys? This is his main moneymaker. I do think, though, boys, before I even talk about the exact changes, Smilegate pretty much put the nail on the head. Edward Elric is designed to effectively neutralize enemies who apply debuffs frequently. That's still where we're going to want to use him. Okay, so we're still not going to first pick him, even with these buffs. Even if you think these buffs are amazing, we still want to pick him, right, guys, versus debuffs. So nothing changes in that regard. All right, so we all know what the S2 does. The S2 is the only thing getting changed. It's called Equivalent Exchange. Love the name. Some of y'all had some funny comments about the naming, but overall, let's see what's happening here. So after being attacked, when the caster has a debuff, dispels one debuff and activates Ryze. Ryze can only be activated once per turn. So here's the big thing, guys. They separated the Ryze, which is the damage, the combat readiness, and the ground thorns, as they put it. But they separated it from the dispel one debuff. Very important, boys. If you want to break it down, simply think of it as Edward will always cleanse 1 debuff on himself when he's attacked, regardless if he's taking a turn or not. There's no more limit of once per turn. He has 100% Crimson Seed that can activate multiple times per turn, okay? So now Ryze, not only that, but Ryze will also now give himself 20% combat readiness, which is super good because Edward is a hero. He has high base speed with his artifact as well, and now the 20% CR push here and the big CR push on his skill 3, we really want him to start cycling and get into, you know, those continuous skill 3 so we can start knocking down our opponents. Not only that, but this gives us opportunities to cut if you build him higher base speed. So just a very, very nice change overall. And on top of that, we also get some damage dealt increase. I'm curious to see how much they're actually going to deal, or how much this is actually going to do. Because right now, the damage is usually anywhere from like 1,000 to 2,000, 2,500 maybe at most. Not very significant. So I don't expect this to be a lot, but hey, any extra damage dealt increased is a welcome addition, right, guys? We're not going to complain about more damage. Just don't expect this to be like a crazy amount. He's not going to be cleaving anyone. At least I don't think. All right, so let's see what their actual explanation is. I'm pretty sure it's kind of what I explained. First, the cooldown of Equivalent Exchange will only be applied to Ryze, so that it dispels a debuff every time he's attacked without any cooldown. Yeah, so multiple, infinite times, guys, as long as you're getting hit. So in the past, right, I think I had a video example in my last guide on Edward Elric, the Honest Review, where I got debuffed by Silius, right, with an attack down, and then I got hit by a Solitarius stun. So what actually happened was Edward Elric cleanses the attack down, which is the first debuff, and then still gets the stun. Now that's going to happen still regardless with these changes before, if that's a unique scenario because Silius doesn't hit when she does her debuffs. There's a lot of other times though where you'll just get multiple debuffs that stack up because after he takes his turn, right, he can only cleanse once per turn, and so your opponent can kind of overwhelm you in between. That's not going to be the case. You will still have that scenario that I described where they can still stun you, right, boys? If they put a debuff before without hitting you, for example, and then hit you with a stun, he's still only going to cleanse 1, even though he can do it unlimited time, so you still can get, you know, he's not going to be invincible, never get debuffed. It's something that happens as well with like Fighter Mai in the past, I believe. It's been a long time since I used it. But yeah, just be clear, boys, he still is able to get debuffed, but it's going to feel so much better in like 90% of the time you play him outside of that niche example. This change will help him deal with enemies who can inflict multiple debuffs. Second, the increased combat readiness effect will be added to Ryze. Ryze now gets 20% combat readiness, which is super good, so he can use his skills more frequently and contain enemies more effectively, as he can take his turn faster again after using Ryze. Yep. So lastly, Ryze will deal increased damage as Ryze's powerful effects of dispelling one of the enemy's buffs and inflicting a debuff for 2 turns. Its damage was set relatively low. However, it has been confirmed that it has low influence against enemies who inflict debuffs frequently due to its low damage and how it inflicts a random debuff. Therefore, we will increase its damage. Okay, so they explained why they kept it low damage, right? But they said it was been confirmed that it has low influence against enemies who inflict debuffs frequently. I don't know if that's exactly true, as you still hit them with the debuff portion, right? The attack down, I believe it's attack down, blind, restrict, and silence, something like that. So I think as long as he still does that, which that part doesn't change at all because he still only does the Ryze Thorn effect once per turn. He could just now cleanse continuously multiple times per turn. So I don't know. I guess, hey, more, like I said earlier above, guys, more damage I never complain about. But it kind of sounds like they're going to give him some nice damage here. The balance adjustment for the 5-star Epic 7 X Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood collaboration hero Edward Elric is scheduled to be applied during the update on Thursday, boys. We're going to get this very soon, and I will test it immediately alongside Roy. We expect Edward Elric to be used in various contents with his balance adjustment. Once again, we apologize for how the balance adjustment is applied during the drop rate up period. We will continue to try our best to improve the heroes in our game so that every character can be utilized by our heirs. Thank you. All right, boys, so there it is. What do y'all think overall? Is this enough to make you guys want to pull for him? Is this enough to make you guys not regret pulling multiple copies like me? I think so overall. Once again, he still is not a must, like a top #1 pick hero that you can kind of just throw into the field like Apocalypse, Ravi, or Hua-Young, but that's okay. He's going to feel so much better now against the units that we want to bring. As long as there's some debuffs on the field, I think he'll do his job wonderfully. So I really like these changes. I think it's significant, and I do think he is much, much more valuable now. All right, guys, I think we'll wrap it up there. I'm just going to read a few comments down in the Stove section. I just like to, it's amusing to me. Let me know what you guys think. Instead of writing on Stove, write in my comment section. Does this make y'all feel better about the Edward Elric buffs? Does it make you feel better about Ed? Are you going to pull for him? Let me know what you think. Tristan Wolf, this is one of my guys. Community spoke, devs listen, SG acted quickly, color me impressed. Same here. Thanks, SG. I've been a lifelong Edward user since 1922. Huh. What the? Okay. Wow, so now he hard counters debuffers. Nice buffs. Unsure how relevant. That's a lot of us. We still need to see how it will be, but I think he's already in a decent enough spot, and I do think this will push him over the edge where he feels like he's worth the investment. Worth it overall, but once again, I'll test on Thursday. All right, guys. Yeah, I think most people are pretty happy with it. Some are still hesitant to see if it's enough. We'll find out all that soon. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. There's a patch preview soon, so check that video out later, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.